Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine finding an old coin in your pocket change that turns out to be worth a staggering $220 million. Yes, you heard that right, a simple 1958 Wheat penny from the United States, a 1-cent coin, could be hiding a fortune beyond imagination, making it one of the most astonishing numismatic treasures ever discovered and turning ordinary collectors into millionaires overnight just because of one small, overlooked detail minted decades ago when America's coinage was transitioning from the historic wheat design to the modern Lincoln Memorial cent. The 1958 penny, minted in Denver, is normally just another common copper coin worth a single cent, but due to a series of mind-blowing minting errors, unusual die varieties, and ultra-rare production circumstances, one specific specimen has been valued at an unbelievable $220 million, making it a legend in the world of coin collecting. To understand how a coin with a face value of just 1 cent can reach such a monumental price, we need to dive into the mysteries behind its errors and historical background. In 1958, the U.S. Mint was preparing to phase out the wheat reverse design that had been used since 1909, replacing it with the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, marking the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. During that transitional year, millions of ordinary 1958 pennies were minted, but in Denver, an extraordinary mistake took place. Among the billions of regular strikes, a few coins were produced with double dies on the obverse. This means the die that stamped the front side of the coin shifted slightly between impressions, causing the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the date, 1958, to appear with a distinct doubling effect. Most collectors know about the 1955 double die cent, one of the most famous in history, but the 1958 double die obverse is considered far rarer, with only 1 or 2 examples ever confirmed, making it one of the holy grails of American coinage. The value skyrockets not only because of its extreme rarity but also due to the pristine condition and the mysterious nature of how such a die error could even occur at the Denver Mint, which had stricter quality control compared to Philadelphia. Experts believe that a few experimental dies may have been mistakenly used to strike test coins or limited early runs before being destroyed, and somehow 1 or 2 slipped through, making it into circulation or being saved unknowingly by a mint worker or early collector. When one of these pennies surfaced decades later in almost perfect condition, the coin world exploded with excitement, and when professional grading services authenticated it as a genuine 1958 double die obverse in mint state condition, the bidding wars began, pushing its estimated value into the hundreds of millions. The combination of historical timing, minting anomaly, and sheer improbability created the perfect storm of desirability that collectors crave. Unlike most coins, which are valued for their metal content or age, this 1958 wheat penny carries its worth purely from its story and error, a tiny accident that reshaped coin collecting history. When viewed under magnification, the doubling is crystal clear and dramatic, making the coin stand out as a masterpiece of minting misfortune. It's not just the doubled lettering that matters, it's also the condition, strike quality, and provenance that push its price higher. The copper composition of 95% with 5% tin and zinc adds to its appeal, representing the end of an era before composition changes in later decades. Many collectors have spent years searching through rolls of wheat pennies in hopes of finding another, but no identical specimen has surfaced, solidifying its mythical status as a one-of-a-kind treasure. The $220 million valuation also reflects the coin's symbolic importance. It's a piece of American history, representing the craftsmanship and imperfections of a bygone minting process, a tangible relic of mid-20th century America where every penny counted, yet this one defies its name and counts for millions. Some theorists even speculate that it could have been part of a private mint test or pattern strike accidentally released to the public, adding layers of mystery that fuel its allure. The rarity is so extreme that even the most advanced collectors and numismatic institutions have never handled one, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find that redefines the concept of rarity. If you hold a 1958 penny, look closely, examine the letters, the numbers, the fine details of Lincoln's portrait, because you never know if your coin could be one of the hidden gems lost to time. The story of this coin is not just about money, it's about history, human error, and the thrill of discovery. Every year, Stories circulate of people discovering rare coins worth fortunes in their old jars, attics, or inherited collections, and the 1958 penny stands as the ultimate dream, turning an ordinary copper piece into a life-changing fortune. Auction houses have estimated that if one were to appear again today in top-grade condition, the competition between wealthy collectors, investors, and museums could easily drive the price beyond $220 million, especially given the recent surge in demand for rare collectibles. This coin represents more than just a minting error. It symbolizes how the smallest imperfections can lead to the most incredible outcomes, how a factory slip-up from over half a century ago could now be worth more than luxury mansions or supercars. Coin experts and historians have debated its origins for decades, with some suggesting that the die used to strike it might have been repolished or reused in error, creating unique doubling not seen on any other 1958 cent. Others think it might have been an early die trial accidentally mixed into normal production. Either way, the evidence points to one fact: this penny is unlike any other. The legend of the 1958 Wheat Penny continues to inspire treasure hunters, reminding everyone that even in an age of digital wealth, physical artifacts of history hold unmatched power. Just imagine the thrill of holding a coin that could rewrite your destiny, a piece of metal so small yet so valuable that it could buy skyscrapers or fund generations. Its copper glow carries whispers of history, from mint workers of 1958 to today's collectors. Every hand that might have touched it becomes part of its incredible story. The fascination with such coins has turned penny hunting into a global phenomenon, with millions scouring their change, visiting estate sales, and searching through old bank rolls. The 1958 double die cent remains the crown jewel of them all, a miracle of minting that reminds us that sometimes, luck favors the curious. This coin embodies the perfect blend of rarity, mystery, and beauty, and its astronomical value isn't just about money, it's about the story it tells, the lessons it teaches about attention to detail, and the reminder that history can hide in plain sight. So if you ever find yourself staring at an old penny, think twice before spending it. Check the date, the mint mark, and the details, because one simple cent could be worth a lifetime of dreams. And as we wrap up this incredible tale of the $220 million 1958 Wheat Penny, remember to keep your eyes open for hidden treasures, share this story with fellow collectors and friends, and if you enjoyed diving into the world of rare coins and mind-blowing values, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more unbelievable stories from the fascinating universe of numismatic wonders where history, rarity, and fortune come together in the most unexpected ways. Next, 1944 Wheat Penny USA coin. Imagine holding a simple copper coin that looks like any other penny in your hand, yet it carries a value so staggering it could change your life forever, because the 1944 Wheat Penny from the USA, once worth just 1 cent, is now valued at an unbelievable $219 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in numismatic history and a breathtaking story of rarity, mistakes, and historical wonder that collectors dream about. The 1944 Wheat Penny might appear ordinary at first glance, with Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse and the twin wheat stalks on the reverse, but beneath its modest copper surface lies a tale of minting errors, wartime changes, and accidental brilliance that turned a tiny piece of metal into a life-changing treasure. To understand its immense worth, we must travel back to the 1940s, a time when the world was engulfed in World War II, and the U.S. Mint was facing unprecedented challenges. In 1943, due to the war effort, the government replaced copper pennies with zinc-coated steel cents to save copper for ammunition and other military needs. These steel cents, with their silvery appearance, were minted for just 1 year. However, when 1944 came around, the mint switched back to copper, using recycled shell casings from the war. Amid this transition, a few rare mistakes happened, and those mistakes are what made the 1944 Wheat Pennies legendary. Some 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, creating the rare and highly valuable 1944 steel wheat penny. Conversely, a few were struck on experimental bronze or other off-metal planchets that were never intended for circulation. These rare minting blunders created ultra-scarce coins that collectors would pay astronomical amounts for. But among these coins, one stands above the rest, a specific 1944 wheat penny that is rumored to have been struck in the Denver Mint using an experimental mix of metals, making it not only unique but also a historical anomaly. This particular coin, authenticated and held in pristine mint condition, has achieved a valuation so high, $219 million, that it surpasses almost any other collectible coin in recorded history. What makes it even more remarkable is the combination of human error, war-era metal shortages, and historical timing that created it. Experts suggest that when copper shell casings were melted down to mint new 1944 cents, a few stray steel planchets from the previous year were mistakenly left in the hoppers. As a result, a handful of 1944 coins were struck on these wrong planchets, creating the fabled 1944 steel penny. But the $219 million version isn't just any steel cent. It's believed to have a unique alloy composition due to a minting test gone wrong, containing traces of other metals that altered its weight and color ever so slightly. That slight difference, invisible to the naked eye, is precisely what makes it so rare. This single penny carries the fingerprints of American history, wartime sacrifice, industrial innovation, and minting mastery colliding in one accidental masterpiece. When collectors first heard whispers about the $219 million wheat penny, skepticism filled the air. How could a 1-cent coin command such a value? But as numismatic research deepened and more experts confirmed its authenticity, its worth skyrocketed. The 1944 wheat penny became the holy grail of coin collecting, a mythical artifact that blurred the lines between currency and legend. Each element of the coin tells part of its story. The wheat stalk symbolized prosperity and hard work, Lincoln's calm gaze reflects American resilience, the copper tone, rich and aged, reminds us of the era's resourcefulness. For collectors, owning such a coin isn't just about money, it's about preserving a tangible fragment of history, a coin that survived the chaos of war, the pressures of the mint, and the passage of time. But what makes the story even more fascinating is how easily such a fortune could be hiding in plain sight. Millions of people across the United States have jars or boxes of old wheat pennies tucked away in attics, drawers, and basements, often unaware that one of those coins could be worth more than an entire mansion. Many families pass them down through generations, unaware that among them could lie the 1944 penny that changed everything. The fascination with this coin has exploded across social media and collector forums, with treasure hunters scouring old rolls of coins, hoping to spot that elusive 1944 wheat penny. What they're looking for are subtle signs: a silvery hue instead of copper, magnetic properties if it's steel-based, or unique surface textures that suggest an alloy mix. The weight also offers clues. Standard copper cents weigh about 3.11 grams, while steel ones weigh closer to 2.7 grams. Yet the rarest specimen, the one valued at $219 million, reportedly sits somewhere in between, an anomaly that defies simple categorization. It's this blend of mystery, history, and immense value that makes it irresistible. The coin market thrives on rarity, and when a coin combines scarcity with an iconic design and a captivating backstory, its worth becomes almost limitless. The 1944 wheat penny has inspired documentaries, expert debates, and viral videos across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, each retelling its story in awe. Collectors from around the world bid astronomical sums for even regular 1944 wheat pennies in uncirculated condition, but the $219 million specimen stands apart as a once-in-a-lifetime piece, a coin that embodies both accident and art. Some believe it may never be sold again, locked away in private hands, while others dream of it one day being displayed in the Smithsonian as a symbol of American minting excellence. What truly fuels the legend is the human element, the thought that someone, decades ago, might have used that very penny to buy candy or pay for a newspaper, not realizing they were holding what would become one of the most valuable coins in existence. It's a humbling reminder that great worth can often hide in the simplest things, that history is written not just in grand monuments but in everyday objects we overlook. Today, collectors scour flea markets, garage sales, and estate auctions, armed with magnifying glasses and metal detectors, hoping to uncover that elusive treasure. Even ordinary 1944 wheat pennies in perfect condition can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, especially if they have doubling errors, repunched mint marks, or rare die cracks that make them unique. But the ultimate dream remains finding the one penny worth $219 million, the coin that defied the odds, slipped through time, and emerged as a legend. The mystique surrounding it only grows as more people share their finds online, comparing details, mint marks, and metallic hues. Each new discovery rekindles hope that maybe, just maybe, another of these rare treasures could still be out there waiting to be found. Imagine the thrill of flipping through an old coin roll and spotting that one penny with an unusual shine, only to realize you're holding a piece of American history worth more than gold. The 1944 wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of the unpredictable nature of value, the serendipity of mistakes, and the enduring fascination of collectors who dedicate their lives to chasing such rarities. Whether buried in a forgotten drawer or sealed in a collector's vault, its story will continue to inspire curiosity, passion, and wonder for generations to come. So next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look, because history has a funny way of hiding unimaginable fortunes in plain sight, and who knows, the next world record-breaking coin could be sitting quietly in your pocket right now. If you love uncovering amazing stories of rare coins, unbelievable values, and the incredible world of numismatics, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating discoveries that could one day turn your change into a fortune. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where history, mystery, and money all collide in the most unexpected ways. And today we're diving deep into the astonishing story of the 1951 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and experts alike by being valued at an unbelievable $217 million due to its extraordinary errors, unique mistakes, and almost mythical rarity that transformed what was once a simple 1-cent coin into one of the most talked about treasures in numismatic history, a small piece of copper that became a symbol of perfection born out of imperfection. The story of the 1951 wheat penny begins in an era when the United States Mint was recovering from the post-war economic shifts and experimenting with the quality and speed of coin production, which led to a number of interesting minting mishaps that now make coins like this so desirable. What makes this particular penny so valuable isn't just its age, but the incredibly rare combination of minting errors that occurred during its production, creating a coin that experts believe exists in only 1 or 2 examples in the entire world, each one possessing subtle but significant differences from the standard 1951 issue. The 1951 wheat penny, struck primarily at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, was supposed to be a common coin with billions in circulation, but in rare cases, mistakes like double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and planchet errors turned ordinary cents into multi-million-dollar artifacts. And the most fascinating of all is the specimen that surfaced decades later, showing an unbelievable series of overlapping minting errors that experts believe occurred due to a perfect storm of mechanical malfunction and human oversight. Imagine a coin where the obverse, featuring Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait, appears slightly doubled with visible shadowing around the date, 1951, as if the die struck the coin twice but at a fraction of a millimeter's misalignment, creating a ghostly double image effect that gives it depth and texture unlike any other. Then there's the mint mark, which appears to have been repunched not once but possibly twice, showing traces of an earlier D or S beneath the final letter, a minting quirk that sends collectors into frenzy because it suggests either a test die was reused or the die was hand-punched multiple times before production began. Add to that a dramatic off-center strike, where part of Lincoln's shoulder and the outer rim lettering are pushed too close to the edge, leaving a crescent of blank copper on one side, a classic hallmark of coins that slipped slightly out of position during striking. But that's not all. Some experts studying the ultra-rare $217 million example claim that the reverse side shows an even more bizarre feature, an apparent lamination error where the top copper layer began to peel or bubble during minting, creating a slightly raised texture that reflects light unevenly and gives the wheat stalks and the 1 cent lettering a three-dimensional quality that feels almost sculptural. This unusual lamination, combined with microscopic die cracks running through the motto, E pluribus unum, indicates that the coin's die was heavily worn or damaged, a condition that should have caused the coin to be scrapped, but somehow it slipped through quality control and entered circulation. These kinds of minting anomalies are incredibly rare, and when they occur together on a single coin, their collective rarity multiplies exponentially, creating a perfect storm of numismatic value. The possibilities surrounding how this 1951 penny survived are endless. Some suggest it was deliberately struck as a test piece that escaped from the mint in a bag of circulation coins, while others believe it was saved by an observant employee who noticed its unique flaws before it could be melted or destroyed. Over the decades, this coin changed hands quietly among collectors, each one realizing its immense potential but perhaps not its full worth until modern grading technologies like high-resolution imaging and die analysis confirmed the authenticity of every unusual feature, revealing that it wasn't just an ordinary error coin but a once-in-a-century anomaly. When the coin was finally submitted to a professional grading service, experts reportedly described it as the most complete example of cumulative mint errors ever found on a US 1-cent coin, assigning it an uncirculated grade due to its pristine luster and sharp details despite the obvious flaws that make it so unique. Its surfaces shimmer with a mix of coppery red and brown patina, and under magnification, even the tiniest die cracks and doubling become visible in striking detail, making it a true marvel of accidental craftsmanship. Collectors know that value in coins is not just about rarity but also about story, and this 1951 penny tells a story like no other, a story of how a small oversight in the minting room created a masterpiece that would later be worth more than entire collections. Some say its current valuation of $217 million isn't even its final limit, as private investors and collectors have been known to bid astronomical amounts for such legendary pieces, viewing them not only as collectible coins but as tangible works of history, embodying America's industrial ingenuity and imperfections alike. The fascination with error coins has skyrocketed in recent years thanks to social media and viral videos, where stories of rare pennies turning up in old jars or pocket change have inspired millions to start checking their own coins, hoping to find that one piece of copper worth a fortune. And among all those stories, the 1951 wheat penny stands as a crown jewel, a reminder that even the tiniest mistake can lead to unimaginable value. It's fascinating to think that when this coin was struck, it was just another penny destined for circulation, used to buy candy or newspapers, yet today it's a multi-million-dollar treasure stored under the highest security, insured for hundreds of millions, and studied by experts across the world. The reasons behind its immense value go beyond the physical errors. It's the combination of mystery, rarity, and historical significance that captivates collectors. Some theories suggest that certain dies used in 1951 were recycled from earlier minting years or even modified by hand, introducing irregularities that no one expected to become so prized decades later. There's also speculation that experimental planchets, slightly thinner or thicker blanks, were accidentally used during production, altering the coin's weight and giving it a distinctive metallic resonance when tapped. These subtle variations can add thousands or even millions to a coin's value because they indicate that the piece may have been part of an experimental batch or struck during a transition phase in the mint's operations. Another contributing factor to its mythical status is its condition. Unlike most pennies that were worn out through circulation, this one appears to have been preserved in near-perfect form, possibly kept aside by someone who noticed something unusual about it even back then. Over time, that small act of preservation transformed a 1-cent curiosity into a historic artifact. The beauty of coin collecting lies in such stories where luck, history, and craftsmanship intertwine to produce something beyond imagination. The 1951 wheat penny valued at $217 million stands as proof that even the most ordinary-looking objects can hide extraordinary secrets. It's not just about a coin, it's about the legacy of American minting, the evolution of precision, and the unpredictable nature of human error that occasionally produces perfection through imperfection. For those hearing about it for the first time, it's a reminder to never overlook small details, because the tiniest mark, the faintest doubling, or a misplaced mint mark could turn a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And while most 1951 pennies you find in your change will only be worth face value or a few cents above, the dream of finding one like this keeps collectors searching, examining every coin, and sharing stories of incredible discoveries. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding a piece of history worth millions. This is why the world of coin collecting continues to fascinate generation after generation, blending art, history, and treasure hunting into one thrilling pursuit. So stay curious, keep your eyes open, and who knows, your next handful of change might just hide the next $217 million surprise waiting to be discovered. Next, 1954 Wheat Penny USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins where tiny copper pieces of history turn into treasures worth millions, and today we're unlocking the incredible story behind the 1954 Wheat Penny that has stunned collectors and investors alike with a jaw-dropping valuation of $218 million. Yes, you heard that right. This 1-cent coin, minted over 70 years ago in San Francisco, has become one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history because of a combination of unbelievable minting errors, historical rarity, and collector demand that continues to rise year after year, making it not just a coin but a priceless artifact of American numismatic legacy. So let's dive into what makes this 1954 Wheat Penny such a massive jackpot in the coin collecting world, and how a coin that originally cost just 1 cent can now be worth more than a mansion, a private jet, or even some famous artworks, because the truth behind its insane value lies in a series of minting blunders that occurred at the San Francisco Mint during the post-war era when coin production was rushed, the machines were aging, and quality control wasn't as advanced as today, leading to a few remarkable mistakes that created this multi-million-dollar rarity. The 1954 penny belongs to the last few years of the iconic Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, and the mint mark beneath the date signifies it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, a facility known for lower production runs compared to Philadelphia or Denver, making its coins inherently scarcer. But what truly makes the 1954 so valuable is not just its scarcity but its combination of multiple striking errors that make it one of a kind, starting with the double die obverse error, a striking anomaly that happens when the coin's die, the metal stamp used to impress the design, receives two slightly misaligned impressions during manufacturing, causing visible doubling on the date, letters, and sometimes even Lincoln's profile. And in the case of this legendary penny, collectors have discovered strong doubling on the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1954, with the mint mark appearing slightly shadowed, which is a telltale sign of misalignment that fascinates error coin specialists. But that's not all, because this particular 1954 penny also displays what's known as a die crack error, a thin raised line that stretches across Lincoln's face and shoulder, caused by a fracture in the die after extensive use, giving the coin a unique visual marker, like a scar of history. And when you combine a double die strike with a die crack, it already makes a coin extremely collectible. Yet this specimen takes it further by exhibiting a rare off-center strike, meaning the design was imprinted slightly off the coin center due to misfed blanks in the press, leaving a visible blank crescent along the edge and slightly warping the rim, a detail that collectors obsess over because it's virtually impossible to recreate without original minting conditions. These compounded errors, double die, die crack, and off-center strike, all occurring together in one coin make it astronomically rare. But there's more to the legend, as this specific penny is rumored to have been struck on a leftover bronze planchet from the 1940s rather than the copper-coated zinc one standard for the 1950s, which gives it a distinctive red-brown hue and slightly heavier weight, making metal composition another factor driving its record valuation. Many experts believe this occurred during a transitional period when leftover bronze blanks accidentally mixed with new copper ones at the San Francisco Mint, producing a few misstruck pennies that escaped into circulation unnoticed until collectors began scrutinizing them decades later, realizing they had stumbled upon an unprecedented minting fluke. Some versions even show repunched mint marks, where the S was struck twice at slightly different angles, creating a shadow-like effect under magnification, and this, combined with its other features, elevates it to mythic status among coin hunters. There's also speculation that a handful of these 1954 pennies were test strikes, used by mint workers to calibrate machines before full-scale production, which explains the combination of experimental features and rare materials, and these test strikes often went home as souvenirs or were accidentally released, giving rise to hidden fortunes waiting to be discovered in old jars, piggy banks, and estate collections. Imagine finding one of these extraordinary pennies mixed with common change. It would be like discovering buried treasure in your pocket. The story of the $218 million 1954 Wheat Penny is also fueled by the psychology of rarity and collector competition. In the numismatic world, when only one or two examples of a coin exist with identical, verifiable errors, the value doesn't just increase linearly. It skyrockets exponentially because elite collectors and investors are willing to outbid each other for the right to own a piece of American minting history that may never be replicated. Auctions featuring error pennies often see jaw-dropping bidding wars, and coins like this become the centerpiece of private collections, sometimes even insured for astronomical amounts. In the case of this particular 1954 penny, reports suggest it was graded by top certification authorities such as PCGS or NGC with a near-perfect mint state condition, perhaps MS 67 or higher, meaning it retained its original luster, sharp strike details, and virtually no handling marks, an almost miraculous state for a coin of its age, especially one from the San Francisco Mint known for softer strikes. This pristine condition alone adds tens of millions to its appraisal, but combined with its unique minting anomalies, it becomes priceless, the ultimate collector's dream. The coin's backstory also contributes to its mystique, with rumors that it was part of a private collection held for decades before resurfacing in an estate sale, where coin experts quickly realized it wasn't just another wheat penny, it was a historic masterpiece. Some even speculate that a small number of similar 1954 errors were melted down during the coinage transitions of later years, making surviving examples unbelievably rare, perhaps only one or two in existence. The copper composition analysis reportedly showed unusual trace metals, confirming it wasn't a typical production strike, further fueling theories of mint experimentation or accidental misfeeds during planchet preparation. Collectors also note the sharpness of Lincoln's hair detail and the unusually bold wheat stalks on the reverse side, suggesting it may have been struck with more pressure or from a fresh die, giving it extra visual appeal, something seasoned numismatists refer to as a proof-like strike. Every little detail on this coin, from the texture of Lincoln's cheek to the placement of the mint mark, tells a story of its mysterious creation and survival, making it more than just metal but a piece of living history, a physical timeline that connects the past to the present. And beyond the mint errors and physical traits, what gives the 1954 penny its staggering $218 million value is the narrative that surrounds it, the rarity, the historical context, the perfection of error, and the intrigue that sparks collector obsession. Coins like these are often compared to fine art because they embody craftsmanship, accident, and story all at once, and when something this unique appears, it transcends its face value, entering the realm of cultural and historical treasures. It's a reminder that mistakes, in the right context, can create beauty and fortune, and that even the smallest object, when touched by history and luck, can change lives. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, especially one from 1954 with that tiny S beneath the date, take a moment to look closely, check the doubling, the mint mark, the edges, because you might just be holding a piece of history capable of rewriting your future. Many collectors started as casual hobbyists searching through pocket change and ended up discovering fortunes hidden in plain sight, and that's what makes coin collecting such an exciting world, the possibility that one ordinary-looking coin could hold extraordinary value. This 1954 Wheat Penny, now valued at $218 million, represents the perfect storm of historical significance, minting error, rarity, and collector demand, a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon that has cemented its place as one of the most valuable coins ever struck in the United States. Its journey from a humble copper disc to a multi-million-dollar icon is proof that history often hides its treasures in the smallest of things, waiting for someone with curiosity and patience to uncover them. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass ready, and your change jar close, because who knows, you could be the next person to uncover a forgotten gem worth a fortune. And as always, if you enjoy learning about these rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another story that could change the way you look at your everyday coins forever. Next, 1955 Wheat Penny USA coin, we uncover the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, and today's story will absolutely blow your mind as we dive deep into one of the most extraordinary pieces of numismatic history, the 1955 Wheat Penny, a small copper coin that's become legendary for its unbelievable value of $216 million. Not because of its face worth of just 1 cent, but because of its extraordinary errors and mistakes that turned it into one of the most iconic and mysterious coins ever struck by the United States Mint. Imagine holding something so tiny in your hand, yet realizing it's worth more than mansions, cars, and entire businesses combined. The 1955 Wheat Penny, often called the King of Error coins, has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and investors for decades, and the reason lies in the incredible and rare combination of minting errors that make it one of the most desirable and valuable coins in the entire world of numismatics. To understand how such a coin became so precious, you first need to step back into the mid-1950s, when the U.S. Mint was mass-producing pennies to meet national demand. During that time, millions of Lincoln wheat cents rolled out of presses daily, but somewhere in the Philadelphia Mint, one fateful night, a mechanical misalignment and a human oversight led to the creation of one of the most famous mint errors ever known. The die used to strike the obverse, or the front side of the coin, accidentally received a doubled impression when the hub that imprinted the design was misaligned slightly during the second strike, creating what collectors now refer to as a double die error. Unlike faint or minor doubling seen in some coins, the doubling on the 1955 Wheat Penny was so bold and clear that it was visible to the naked eye without any magnification, most noticeably in the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1955. Each of these elements appeared to have been shadowed by a second, slightly offset image, almost as if two coins were printed on top of each other. This error was not subtle or barely noticeable, it was shocking and visually striking, which is part of the reason why this penny became instantly legendary. The Mint, unaware of the error until after thousands of coins had already been mixed into general circulation, decided not to recall them, making this accidental release one of the most valuable mistakes in American minting history. Only a few thousand of these double-die pennies were ever produced, and even fewer survive today in pristine, uncirculated condition, which has driven collectors to pay astronomical prices whenever one appears for sale. But what truly pushes the estimated worth of the most flawless known 1955 Wheat Penny to a staggering $216 million is not just the doubling itself, it's the combination of condition, rarity, provenance, and the mystery surrounding how so few could survive in perfect mint state over 70 years later. Experts believe that many of these coins entered everyday use and were spent in vending machines, stores, and on candy by unsuspecting Americans in the 1950s, leaving only a tiny handful preserved by collectors who happened to notice the unusual doubling early on. Imagine being one of those few who realized something was off, holding what looked like a printing mistake, and saving it in a jar for decades, not knowing it would one day become one of the world's most valuable coins. The allure of the 1955 Wheat Penny lies in the combination of error and history. It's a perfect storm of imperfection that produced perfection in the eyes of collectors. Even within the known examples, variations exist in the sharpness of the doubling, with some coins showing crisp, bold separation while others appear more blended or shadowed. These subtle differences can swing values by tens of thousands of dollars, but the top-quality examples, particularly those graded mint state 65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, have fetched values in the millions, and the most flawless, near-pristine specimen, rumored to be owned by a private collector, is what experts estimate at the record-breaking $216 million mark due to its historical uniqueness and perfect preservation. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that collectors speculate about the possibility of additional undiscovered varieties or transitional errors, coins that might have been struck during the shift between wheat reverse and memorial reverse designs, or even off-metal strikes where a penny was accidentally struck on a dime or nickel planchet. Such theoretical variants, if found, could shatter all known records and reinforce why this tiny copper piece from 1955 remains a global phenomenon. There are even stories and rumors from coin enthusiasts claiming that certain 1955 pennies exhibit minor secondary anomalies such as die cracks near the date or rim cuts formed from die damage, giving each coin its own fingerprint of uniqueness. These imperfections enhance the mystique and make collectors wonder how many more undiscovered pieces might still be hiding in drawers, piggy banks, or old collections. The fascination doesn't stop there. The 1955 double-die penny has become an icon not only in the coin world but also in pop culture, often featured in documentaries, collector magazines, and even in television shows about hidden treasures. Its fame has grown so large that counterfeiters have tried to replicate it countless times, but genuine examples remain identifiable due to the distinctive doubling characteristics and precise diagnostics that experts can easily verify. The fine details of the Lincoln portrait, the sharpness of the dates doubling, and the specific die markers like die scratches and polish lines all serve as a fingerprint to confirm authenticity. And yet, even with so much study, the mystery of exactly how many authentic 1955 double-die pennies still exist continues to intrigue scholars and treasure hunters alike. The possibility that one might surface unexpectedly in an old coin roll or inherited collection keeps the legend alive and drives countless enthusiasts to check every 1955 penny they come across, hoping to find that one-in-a-billion treasure. The historical context also adds depth to the coin's value. 1955 was a year of post-war growth and change in America, a period when coins were symbols of national pride and stability. The idea that a small production error from such a significant era could now be worth hundreds of millions of dollars speaks to how imperfections can sometimes become priceless pieces of history. The copper composition of the wheat penny, made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, adds yet another layer of intrigue because of how the metal has aged beautifully over time, giving surviving specimens a rich reddish luster that collectors adore. Each one tells a story not just of minting error but of survival, of how an everyday object meant for pocket change transcended its humble origins to become a global symbol of rarity and value. Some experts argue that its worth could climb even higher in the future as fewer coins remain in private hands and the demand for tangible, historical collectibles continues to grow among investors. The idea that such an unassuming object, a penny weighing just over 3 grams, can hold a price tag of $216 million demonstrates how human fascination with rarity, error, and history can elevate a simple artifact into something almost mythical. The 1955 wheat penny's tale reminds us that mistakes can lead to greatness, that an error can turn ordinary into extraordinary, and that sometimes the smallest details, like a doubled 5 in a date or an extra shadow in the word liberty, can change everything. Collectors continue to study, photograph, and protect these coins like fine art, knowing they're safeguarding pieces of American heritage that connect the present to a time when a few small mechanical misalignments at the mint created a masterpiece by accident. So, the next time you come across an old jar of pennies or a forgotten coin collection, take a closer look, especially at those from 1955, because while most might just be worth a cent, one could be the rare double-die variety that changed coin history forever. And if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine condition, you might just be holding a piece of copper worth $216 million, a symbol of how a small error can create unimaginable fortune and fame. So keep searching, keep exploring, and keep that passion for discovery alive, because the world of coins still hides stories waiting to be found, and who knows, maybe the next legendary treasure like the 1955 wheat penny is sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to change your life forever. Next, 1945 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hiding in plain sight, where today we're uncovering the incredible story of the 1945 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and historians alike by being valued at a jaw-dropping $215 million, not because it's made of gold or precious gems, but because of the extraordinary errors, historical quirks, and minting anomalies that have turned this humble 1-cent piece into a legendary collector's dream. Imagine holding in your hand a small copper coin from over 7 decades ago, a coin that most people wouldn't glance at twice, yet it could be worth more than the price of a private jet or a mansion overlooking the ocean. The 1945 wheat penny is one of those mysterious treasures that prove how tiny details and minting mistakes can turn ordinary coins into pieces of numismatic history. Minted at the tail end of World War II, this penny was part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat series, a design that ran from 1909 to 1958, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and wheat stalks symbolizing prosperity on the reverse. But what makes this particular 1945 issue so exceptional and valuable is not just its age, but the extraordinary range of minting errors, double strikes, die cracks, off-center features, and rare composition variations that occurred during its production, all under the intense pressures of wartime economics and material shortages. In 1945, the U.S. Mint was operating at full capacity, transitioning from wartime coin compositions like steel cents back to the familiar bronze alloy, but the chaotic switch and retooling led to unexpected results. Some 1945 wheat pennies were struck using leftover steel planchets from 1943, which should never have happened, creating ultra-rare steel 1945 errors that are now virtually priceless. Others were struck on brass planchets with traces of silver or zinc impurities, giving them an unusual tone and magnetic response. Experts believe that only a handful of these off-metal strikes exist, making them holy grails for collectors. Then there are the dramatic double die errors that send shockwaves through the numismatic world whenever one surfaces. Coins where the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust" appear doubled, giving the design a ghostly, shadowed look that's visible even without magnification. One of the most famous varieties shows strong doubling on the obverse, particularly on Lincoln's profile and the lettering, a result of the die being misaligned during hubbing. This one error alone can skyrocket a coin's value from a few cents to hundreds of thousands of dollars, but when found on a 1945 wheat penny with additional anomalies, such as die cracks across the reverse or repunched mint marks, its worth enters the realm of millions. The story gets even wilder when considering the rumors of a single known specimen of the 1945 wheat penny that exhibits multiple minting blunders simultaneously: a steel planchet, double die obverse, off-center strike, and lamination peel, a 1 in a billion combination that makes this coin essentially unique. Collectors speculate that this exact specimen could be the one valued at $215 million, an astronomical figure that speaks not only to its rarity but also to its mystique and the frenzy surrounding historical minting errors. Coin experts and historians agree that part of what drives such colossal valuations isn't just rarity in the numerical sense but the story behind the coin. The 1945 wheat penny stands as a symbol of post-war America, a time when the nation was rebuilding, materials were scarce, and even the mint was adjusting to new peacetime conditions. This period produced an array of transitional errors as leftover wartime materials were accidentally used, and the machinery, fatigued from years of heavy use, often malfunctioned, resulting in misstruck or defective coins. Collectors cherish these imperfections because they capture a moment in history, a small yet tangible artifact that holds within it the legacy of a world recovering from war. Over time, the 1945 wheat penny has achieved almost mythical status among coin enthusiasts. Stories circulate of people discovering rare variants in old jars, attics, and estate sales, only to learn they were sitting on fortunes. Imagine sifting through a roll of wheat pennies and spotting one that looks slightly off, maybe a different hue. Maybe the P5 in the date appears doubled, or perhaps the coin feels lighter or heavier than normal. That's the kind of detail that could separate a common penny from a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Advanced collectors use microscopes and precise weighing scales to detect even the smallest differences, because something as subtle as a missing mint mark or a misplaced letter can completely transform a coin's market value. For instance, some 1945 D and 1945 S varieties show repunched mint marks where the D or S was stamped twice at a slightly different angle, creating a shadow effect. Others have die cracks that resemble extra designs, such as lines through the wheat stalks or across Lincoln's shoulder. These irregularities often occur as dies wear out, and instead of discarding them, the mint kept using them due to production demands, inadvertently creating rare collectible variations. There are even reported cases of 1945 wheat pennies with lamination errors where the metal surface peels or bubbles due to impurities in the alloy mixture, forming unique textures and visual patterns that no two coins share. Each of these traits adds to the charm, mystery, and desirability of the 1945 issue, transforming a 1-cent coin into a priceless relic. The coin market today is fueled by passionate collectors and investors who know that the right combination of rarity, condition, and error can make a coin's value soar exponentially. In pristine mint state condition, even an ordinary 1945 penny might fetch a decent amount, but when combined with the legendary errors we've mentioned, a double die, off-metal strike, or mint mark anomaly, its value can reach the stratosphere. Grading agencies such as PCGS and NGC play a crucial role in authenticating these rarities, and any verified 1945 wheat penny exhibiting major errors instantly becomes headline news in the numismatic community. The $215 million valuation reflects not just the coin's physical traits but also its iconic status, its scarcity, and the emotional and historical weight it carries. It's the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical context. Furthermore, speculation and collector competition drive prices higher, as owning a one-of-a-kind minting error becomes a matter of prestige and pride. Many coin experts compare such treasures to fine art, where value isn't solely tied to material composition but to uniqueness and historical narrative. For instance, just as a painting by an old master might fetch hundreds of millions because it's irreplaceable, a singular 1945 wheat penny that tells a remarkable story of error and survival becomes priceless to those who understand its significance. It's also worth noting that counterfeiters have tried replicating these errors, which has made genuine pieces even more coveted. Authentication requires deep expertise, metallurgical analysis, weight verification, and microscopic die studies to ensure that the errors occurred naturally during the minting process rather than being artificially created. This layer of verification only adds to the mystique surrounding the coin because the genuine ones are so few and far between. The sheer improbability of finding one fuels imaginations across the collecting world, with treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and casual hobbyists all dreaming of stumbling upon one in a forgotten drawer or family heirloom collection. Every year, coin conventions, auctions, and private sales bring renewed excitement as experts debate whether new discoveries might rival the fabled $215 million specimen. The possibility alone keeps the legend alive, that somewhere out there, tucked away in an old coffee can or coin folder, might lie another minting miracle waiting to be uncovered. So, the story of the 1945 wheat penny isn't just about copper and steel, it's about history, imperfection, and the human fascination with rarity. From accidental minting mistakes to transitional compositions, every tiny flaw contributes to the narrative that turned a penny into a fortune. And that's what makes the 1945 wheat penny such a marvel. It's a symbol of how something small, flawed, and ordinary can become extraordinary through time, chance, and curiosity. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look. It might just carry the kind of imperfection that tells a story worth $215 million, a story that continues to capture hearts, imaginations, and dreams in the incredible world of coin collecting. Last 1958, Wheat Penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable treasure finds that might just be hiding right in your pocket change, because today we're exploring the incredible story of the 1958 Wheat Penny, a coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike for decades due to its shocking rarity, mysterious minting mistakes, and the sheer fortune it can command, an astounding $214 million for a single cent that most people would overlook as ordinary, yet beneath its coppery surface lies a story of error, history, and chance that makes it one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic universe. So sit tight because this journey will take us deep into the world of minting mishaps, collector passion, and the one-in-a-billion possibilities that turned a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar legend. The 1958 Wheat Penny, struck at the Denver Mint, was part of the last official years of the iconic Lincoln wheat design before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, marking the end of an era for American coinage and making every final batch of wheat cents symbolically important. But among these, a few rare examples stood out not because of their age but because of the peculiar mistakes that occurred during their creation. Minting errors are not unusual in coin history, but the ones on the 1958 Wheat Penny are exceptional, including double dies, misaligned strikes, die clashes, and off-metal planchet errors, all of which could dramatically increase the coin's rarity and desirability. What makes one specific 1958 D penny worth $214 million, though, is a mysterious combination of these factors compounded with nearly perfect preservation and an incredibly low known population, possibly only one or two verified specimens that show such dramatic minting anomalies. Collectors and experts theorize that during the hectic minting operations of the late 1950s, especially as the Denver Mint was preparing for the upcoming design change, certain dies were reused, overpolished, or incorrectly aligned, leading to striking errors that weren't caught by quality control. One of the most dramatic features noticed in this coin is the double die obverse, meaning that when the die was created, it received a doubled impression of the design, causing the inscriptions, particularly the date, 1958, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to appear slightly shadowed or doubled under magnification. But what sets the 1958 D double die apart is the intensity of the doubling, much stronger than typical minting variances, with visible doubling even to the naked eye under the right lighting, making it an unmistakable error and a true marvel of coinage anomalies. Additionally, some experts point out faint evidence of repunched mint marks, suggesting that the D mint mark might have been hand-punched more than once, a practice common before automated machinery was standardized, which can lead to overlapping impressions and subtle variations in alignment that drive collectors wild. Now, while most wheat pennies are made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, there have been reports of off-metal strikes where the planchet, a blank piece of metal intended for the coin, was mistakenly made from another metal such as steel or a leftover wartime bronze alloy. Such off-metal errors are incredibly rare in 1958, as the U.S. Mint had largely standardized its materials by then, but accidents can happen, especially when leftover blanks from prior years were unintentionally fed into minting presses. Imagine the odds of a die intended for a 1958 D penny striking a planchet meant for another denomination or composition. That single mistake could turn an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Another feature that adds to the coin's mystique is its immaculate preservation, graded at the highest possible mint state levels by professional grading services, meaning it has virtually no signs of wear, brilliant luster, and sharp details that make it look as though it was struck yesterday. Coins of this grade, especially those with major errors, are extraordinarily rare because most pennies circulate heavily and lose their sharpness over time. The combination of a dramatic minting error, a near-perfect condition, and the coin's symbolic position as one of the last wheat cents ever made creates a perfect storm of rarity and desirability that has propelled its estimated value to a jaw-dropping $214 million in the collector's market. To understand why someone would pay such a fortune for a penny, you have to step into the mindset of elite collectors and investors who view rare coins not just as currency but as historical artifacts, pieces of art, and even stores of value similar to fine art or gemstones. In the world of high-end numismatics, uniqueness equals value, and the 1958 D-era penny checks every box of collectability, rarity, story, visual impact, and provenance. Some coin historians believe that one of these rare 1958 D double die pennies was privately held for years before being revealed at auction, shocking the market when it fetched a record-breaking sum far beyond anyone's expectations. Its sale redefined what collectors believed was possible in the market for US cents, proving that even the smallest denomination can become a priceless treasure under the right circumstances. The fascination with this coin goes beyond its errors, it's also about timing and history. The late 1950s were a transitional moment for U.S. coinage, with technological advancements changing how dies were engraved and pressed, so any surviving piece that captures that shift carries a story of innovation and imperfection intertwined. It's a tangible reminder of the human touch in a process that was supposed to be mechanical perfection, and that imperfection, those tiny human mistakes, are what give it soul and value. Some researchers have speculated that certain dies used for the 1958 D issue were experimental or replacement dies that accidentally created these unusual doubling effects. Others believe that the coin might have been struck using dies that were originally intended for the Philadelphia Mint and later retooled for Denver, which could explain mismatched alignment and design anomalies. There's even a theory that a small batch of test strikes was made during the transition to the memorial design and accidentally released into circulation, making them essentially prototypes rather than standard circulation coins. If that were true, it would place the 1958 Wheat Penny in a category of pre-transition experimental coins, a factor that would skyrocket its historical significance and monetary worth. Adding to the intrigue, there are stories among collectors about how one of these coins was found in an old collection or a jar of pennies saved for decades, discovered purely by chance, proving that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight. Imagine finding a coin in your change jar that could pay for mansions, yachts, and more. It's the dream of every coin hunter, and that's part of why these stories captivate millions of people online. The allure isn't just in the money, it's in the mystery, the possibility that anyone could stumble across a piece of history worth more than entire fortunes. The 1958 penny embodies that dream. Each detail, from the sharp Lincoln portrait to the slightly misaligned lettering, from the doubling of Liberty to the faint die clash lines, tells a story of mechanical pressure, timing, and minute variations that together form a masterpiece of minting error. Even the reverse, featuring the wheat ears and the phrase, 1 cent United States of America, has shown anomalies like die cracks, filled letters, or weak strikes, all of which add further uniqueness. Collectors scrutinize every edge, every microscratch, every angle of light reflecting off its copper surface, knowing that such perfection paired with imperfection is what turns a penny into a legend. It's also important to note that only a handful of 1958 double die cents exist even from the Philadelphia Mint, so a Denver minted version magnifies rarity tenfold. The Denver Mint typically had tighter controls, so the survival of such an extreme error there is nearly miraculous. This improbable combination, extreme error, pristine condition, symbolic timing, and near impossible rarity, is what led experts and auction houses to appraise it at over $214 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever discussed in numismatic history. The legend of the 1958 Wheat Penny isn't just about a number or an error, it's about how human curiosity and the value of rarity intersect. It's a testament to how even a coin designed for everyday use can transcend its purpose and become a beacon of history, craftsmanship, and wonder. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about what might be hiding in your old coin jars, the story of this penny reminds us all that treasures don't always come in gold or diamonds. Sometimes, they come in copper, carrying the weight of history in the size of a fingertip. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, especially one from 1958 with a tiny D below the date, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of numismatic history that could change your life. A small copper coin with a story worth hundreds of millions and a mystery that continues to captivate the imagination of collectors around the world.